Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and it is Sunday, so we are doing breaches of the week. And this week is actually shorter than most, and I'm actually very glad to see that. I hope this trend continues. Not that I don't mind doing long videos, I just want data breaches to end. But before we begin, I'd like to thank the following people that linked me, tagged me, sent me information. It's always appreciated, and that is Jason Dance, David Walker, Barrett Peterson, and Jacqueline Wolf. Thank you so very much. And if you have a tip for me, please send it my way, and I'm happy to give you a shout out here as well, and also on my radio show. Now, with that, let's start with South End City College in Birmingham, United Kingdom. Quote, on Saturday, 13 March, the college experienced a cybersecurity incident and found that a ransomware infection had made certain computer systems on our network inaccessible. This forced us to close our campus buildings, including the 14 to 16 Academy, during the week commencing 15 March. It also means many IT systems on campuses still cannot be used. So heads up to you, South End City College employees and students. Hopefully you're back online by now. Moving on, let's head down under to Melbourne's Eastern Health. Apparently a cyber incident which took place late on Tuesday has forced Eastern Health to pull a number of its IT systems offline as a precaution. Now, in a statement, Eastern Health said that it had taken the systems offline while it investigates the incident, but stressed that patient safety has not been compromised, I guess as far as they know. Now, Category 2 and 3 elective surgery procedures have been postponed, while Category 1 procedures will continue. I'm assuming those are the critical emergency ones. I don't speak medical in Australia, but heads up, Eastern Health users. Moving on. Let's talk about computer manufacturers. They're a giant in the industry. Acer, basically, they got hit by the REvil ransomware, where the threat actors are demanding basically the largest known ransom to date in this industry, which is $50 million, at least publicly. Now, Acer is a Taiwanese electronics and computer maker well known for laptops, desktops, and monitors. Many of you are probably watching me on some kind of Acer equipment. Now, Acer employs approximately 7,000 employees and has a revenue of $7.8 billion, so they're obviously rather big. Now, 2 days ago, the ransomware gang announced on their data leak site that they had breached Acer and shared some images of the allegedly stolen files as proof. I went ahead and took a look at the leak site, and sure enough, it definitely looks like Acer got hit, so we'll see where that goes. Moving on. Let's talk about a car financing company called KLS Capital. They've been around for 17 years, employing 20 people, and they have 26,000 customers. They got hit with ransomware that started to be leaked by the Black Shadow ransomware gang, and that's all the information I have right now. But heads up, if you are employed by or have used KLS Capital to finance your vehicle. Moving on, let's talk about the Healthcare Business Associate, Peak TPA. They are notifying 50,000 PACE or PACE program patients that their data was stolen from 2 of its cloud servers by an attacker. Now, the third-party administrator support claims management on behalf of PACE programs is what we're talking about here. PACE TPA learned of this attack on December 31st and later determined that it was the NetWalker ransomware gang that was behind this. And if you didn't realize or remember, NetWalker was actually taken down in January with multiple arrests in Bulgaria and also other places around the world in January by federal agencies. And so hopefully that will be a no harm, no foul. But if the data is out there, the data is probably out there. But heads up, if you are part of the PACE program that is administered by Peak TPA. Moving on. Let's talk about the Atascadero State Hospital in California. State officials say a Department of State Hospitals, employee improperly accessed the health information on more than 2,000 patients, former patients and employees at Atascadero State Hospital. Approximately 1,415 patients and former patients, as well as 617 employees affected by the breach, are being notified. So heads up if you have anything to do with Atascadero State Hospital. Moving up to the Great White North, let's talk about the Canada Revenue Agency. This is the tax collecting body for the government of Canada, similar, I would imagine, to the United States' IRS. The CRA locked more than 800,000 individuals out of their online platform following a data breach, according to Canadian news outlets. An investigation found, quote, unauthorized third parties may have obtained a number of usernames and passwords, and here we are. The agency said the incident may have been caused by an external data breach or an email phishing scam. They are still investigating. Heads up, all you taxpayers in Canada. Moving on, let's head on over to Japan and talk about the messaging app provider Line. Now, Japanese media is reporting that Line failed to notify users that a China-based affiliate had been granted access to its user database, which is a potential breach of Japanese privacy laws. Now, basically, their legislation requires companies to specify the countries that they transfer data to. So if you're a Line user in Japan, for example, they're supposed to tell you that essentially a company in China or the United States or anywhere else may have access to your data. Now, the newspaper, the Japan Times, reported engineers at a Chinese company had gained access to users' names, email addresses, and phone numbers in 2018 after being granted access to Line servers as part of an AI technology development project. Line denies these claims, but this is actually a very serious situation for them in the sense that the Japanese government and the Chinese government are adversarial, I think very similarly to the way the United States and China are as well. And so this Japan, rather, being a staunch ally of the United States, I think is going to be taking this very seriously. We will see where this goes, and I will keep you up to date. And finally, like I said, it was a short week, and I went looking for data breaches, but I am about 6.5 minutes into this video right now, which is crazy because usually I'm wrapping up around 20 minutes, so this was a pretty light week, and believe me, it wasn't for lack of trying, but I'm glad to see that. Now, with that, I'm going to give you an update on Sky Global. I mentioned them last week. They're also known as SkyEcc. Now, roughly a week ago, Belgian police said that they had cracked over 500 million messages on SkyEcc phones and had made dozens of arrests of suspected drug traffickers and other criminals. Now, what they said was law enforcement captured 1 billion messages. They said they had decrypted 500 million and were looking at these live. So by virtue of that, which is why I thought this was really interesting to talk about last week as well, is that SkyEcc and their parent company Sky Global came out and actually said that their phones were not basically hit or accessed by law enforcement, that somebody was selling copycat ECC phones, and this is where this is coming from. It's not ECC itself. But as I mentioned last week, with 500 million messages hit, 500 million messages hit, and the Belgian police saying that they could monitor this live, yeah, right. Now, they're basically out of business. They shut down. And here's what's going on. The U.S. Department of Justice just released this late last week. Quote, Sky Global executive and associate indicted for providing encrypted communication devices to help international drug traffickers avoid law enforcement. Now, the indictment alleges that Sky Global installs sophisticated encryption software in iPhones, Google Pixels, Blackberries, and Nokia mobile phones. Sky Global device users communicate with each other in a closed network, and Sky Global routes these communications through encrypted servers located in Canada and France. There are at least 70,000 Sky Global devices in use worldwide, including in the United States. This is, again, according to the DOJ. The indictment alleges that for more than a decade, Sky Global had generated hundreds of millions of dollars in profit by facilitating the criminal activity of transnational criminal organizations and protecting these organizations from law enforcement. So, before I dive in even further, here's my concern with this. Having strong encryption in and of itself does not make one a criminal, nor should selling devices with strong encryption be a crime as well. I am not obviously part of any criminal enterprise, at least not that I know of, but I'm a privacy advocate, and so a phone from SkyEcc prior to this mess would have been very appealing to me if I had known that this was around, and so I could keep my communication secure, not for any criminal reason, but I am, given my job and given who I am, would want to thwart attempts at capturing my information. Now, this all comes down to intent. And when we are talking about this, it's important to understand the intent of, let's say, somebody like me versus somebody like Sky Global, and that's where Sky Global diverges, and I think this is the crux of why they are being charged. And to quote that article on the DOJ, the indictment alleges that Sky Global employees use digital currencies, including Bitcoin, to facilitate illegal transactions on the firm's website, to protect its customers' anonymity and to facilitate the laundering of the customer's ill-gotten gains. According to the indictment, Sky Global employees also set up and maintain shell companies to hide the proceeds generated by selling its encryption services and devices. But here is my concern with this. We have an ongoing tug of war between privacy advocates such as myself and many others and governments, not just the United States, governments plural, that want to weaken encryption so their law enforcement, their national law enforcement, can simply walk right in to phones of their citizens. This issue is going to be used, I think, Sky Global's issue is going to be used as a bludgeon by governments and law enforcement to underscore why encryption should be weakened or simply illegal. And society, if you think about it, tends to be reactionary and therefore creates laws to the lowest common denominator in that society. The vast majority of us overwhelmingly are not criminals, nor are we running criminal enterprises, so why ruin privacy for us all? And I will leave you with that thought because those were your breaches of the week. And this video was basically half the length, and podcast was half the length of my normal ones. And so those are your breaches of the week. Were you affected? Let me know. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. And please stay private. Thanks, everyone.